11 kilometers per second is known as the escape velocity. It is the amount of force or speed that one must travel in order to escape the Earth's gravity. And so the reason I use that term is because in order to soar, to become a star, to reach out into the heavens, you have to escape the forces that bear you down. The biggest of which is fear of judgment of others, and then our addiction to comfort. In this YouTube channel, what I do is I discuss the things that must be done for us to reach our potential. Good time of the day that you're listening to our video, my video. Well, by hour, the organization is 11 kilometers per second. 11 kilometers per second is the escape velocity. It is the speed at which you must travel to escape Earth's gravity. And so the metaphor is we give you little tools, little and big tools that will allow you to escape the forces that keep you grounded and allow you to soar inside of space and amongst the stars. All right, so today what I want to talk about is understanding or making every attempt to understand who you are and to really have knowledge of self. And that is constantly, constantly just checking for the feelings that you're having and understanding what's happening behind your feelings. What happens is a lot of times we have thoughts, or sometimes they're not even thoughts, they're just like triggers that happen from, some minor or micro trauma that you have had, or some major traumas that you have had, that the memory remains within your body. And as soon as it happens, it's like an immediate thought that leads to a feeling, and that feeling can then impact your actions, your behavior, how you respond to people. And if you aren't aware of the ways that you're triggered, the things that are creating feelings within you, then you are going to respond in ways that is not ideal, or at least in ways that you are not in control of fully, because that's not the way that you would have preferred to act, how your ideal self would prefer to act. And in understanding this, one of the things that I've come to talk about is in a relationship, whether it's platonic or romantic, you should never try to communicate that you're upset with the silent treatment. So there's a lot of people who, you know, get upset with someone, and not a lot of people, we all do this. We get upset with someone and we want to communicate that we're upset. Somehow we want that person to understand it, but we either don't truly understand our feelings, and or we know that if we have the argument, the other person has, a legitimate comeback, a legitimate counter argument, and we don't want to get into this back and forth, because clearly if you know that whatever it is that was done is clearly wrong, no one can argue it. Somebody came in for no reason, like punched you in your face, like extreme example. Clearly you can make a case for why it is that that's wrong, but if there is a gray area, you're like, okay, they can come back. It means that you haven't truly fully um, analyzed and examined what it is that's upsetting you. So if you don't know, obviously that's one reason. You don't know what's upsetting you, so now you need to examine exactly why that is, and then you come up with the words to explain precisely what it is that you're upset about, explain it, and why it is that it shouldn't happen. You either come up with the words or you come up with some actions. Not everything needs to be discussed. There are certain things that you will need to act upon. If somebody, for example, extreme example again, punches you in the face, and clearly there is a, like, self-defense, but not to get too extreme, so that it's something that you can relate to. Sometimes some people behave in ways that are like there is no excuse for them. They're dealing with some issues, some demons within themselves, and the only thing that you can do, unless you want to take on the burden of healing that person, if that is your calling, the only thing you can do is separate yourself. You need to be sure that your energy is not constantly being drained by people who are negative and taking you down. If you have a purpose, you need to be on that purpose. That's your primary responsibility is to yourself. And so that action may be because you understand this to be the case, you understand what's happening. It's not a conversation, let me make you understand why what you're doing is upsetting. It's an action, it's a behavior. And then if it's not a words or actions, the third option is that you shouldn't be upset about whatever it is that you're upset about. It's something that you need to work within yourself. And sometimes that is, somebody is calling you out for something that you yourself have as a standard and you're not living up to. If that is the case, and, sitting here wanting the other person not to feel what is true, or even if you don't think it's true, the person is feeling what they are feeling. This is this goes back to maybe the second one where you have to take actions. If you know it's not true, if you're living to your own standards and that person insists that you're not, then perhaps it's the action is to move away. But when you do know that you're not living up to that standard, and it's being, the mirror is being put in your face, and it's like, no, I don't want you to know that. I don't want you to say it, and I know it's true, but I don't want you to know that it's true. In that case, you need to be like, well, I can't be upset with that. It's not something I should be upset with. I need to change it. Or, I need to accept it. This is not who these aren't my standards. I'm okay with those not being my standards. I thought they were, but they're not. This is not something I'm willing to live up to. You have to make that decision for yourself. You know, obviously your ideal self will know precisely what you intend to be. So, you can't cheat yourself. Everybody else can sit here and be like, well, it seems like he doesn't care for being like this irresponsible, whatever, or, this person with lack of self-control for whatever. And if you're in your own head feeling terrible about it after you've displayed those sorts of behaviors, then, you can't cheat yourself. So it's time for you to go in and stop doing that, and those feelings will not pop up. So know yourself and constantly be evaluating your feelings in order to do that. And then decide which one of the three things you have to do. Understand and then speak. If you're upset about somebody, do not do the silent treatment, or take some action. If, that person is, not good for you, is a negative person who, is not is not behaving, or is not in your best interest. And thirdly, make the necessary changes. So that is our tidbit for today. Use that not only in your romantic relationships, but also in platonic or any type of relationship that you may have. All right. Thank you.